And we are live, back after a week off.
Had to fight the
Probably
snakes.
The strangest reason for having to take the show off was because of last week. And as the thumbnail suggested, it's regarding snakes. And yes, I wrangled me some venomous snakes last week. I didn't really wrangle them. I would say more smashed them into oblivion with a shovel.
That's
And there is video of it that will never see the light of day. Because there is nothing more embarrassing than two full-grown men screaming like little girls while smashing rattlesnakes with shovels. When we get more people in, I will further expand on that story because Justin heard it already, but it is semi entertaining.
it is. It's a good story. Oh, Wednesday. Shit,
living in
Mississippi said show.
Living in the rural area definitely is a change of pace. Although I can say it's still better than living in California.
Yeah,
And we had a watcher, and then they left.
I know. There's nobody today.
There's literally one person came back. there was literally 0 people watching a minute ago.
It's all right.
That's disheartening. Our fans abandoning us. Man, what a crazy 2 weeks it has been. It's been crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy all over the place.
all over the place. All over the place.
I mean, I don't remember the last time when there was so much just utter chaos in the world.
Right.
Chaos. Besides the whole Israel Hamas going to war thing. For the first time in history, we vacated a Speaker of the House last week. It's never happened before. Partly because nobody's ever been crazy enough to kick their own party's Speaker of the House out of his spot. But kudos to Republicans. Kevin McCarthy deserved to get booted. He brokered a bunch of deals so that he could become Speaker of the House, and then he broke all those deals with all the people that he brokered the deals with. So
Why does that sound familiar?
not bad enough that politicians lie to us constantly, but when they lie to one another, evidently they will get pissed off at some point. So kudos to Matt Gaetz for putting out the motion to vacate because Kevin McCarthy was no friend to the American people. Steve Scalise took his place today. I don't know. Steve Scalise is going to be much better of a friend to the people of America, but that is yet to be seen. Plus, we only have about another year and 3 months until we're shuffling Congress around anyhow.
Right.
2024's election, so. And it's not like any of us expect them to do anything anyhow. I mean, it's Congress. Modern day Congress is pretty well as about as useless can be.
Robert, 1,000 points today for being the only person here.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Robert, welcome to the show. Oh, man. Hey, I'm going to start the show off with a good one. What kind of doctor was Dr. Pepper? Physician.
Oh my gosh. That was good.
Yeah.
NorCal in the house. Oh, we might get some zingers yet.
Man, NorCal, what's happening? Good to see you, buddy. Man, it's been a hot minute.
Oh, I want to tell NorCal I was just giving you shit in that comment I left. Your video. I was just giving you sarcasm, bro. That's not serious.
So the high limit sprint car series wrapped up. So the high limit sprint car series was a new series that started this year by NASCAR driver Kyle Larson and his brother, a World of Outlaw sprint car driver Brad Sweet. And Tuesday night was the last race, and Kyle Larson won the championship and
Nice.
the $30,000 check, and like what looks to be like some giant diamond encrusted ring.
That's exactly what you need. Yeah.
Yeah. So NorCal, I would say it's less snake wrangling. It's actually less snake wrangling and just snake smashing with shovels. So I guess we're getting slow start here tonight with only a couple of viewers.
I don't know if it's just a dead Wednesday or I finally actually scored the touchdown and everybody hates us now.
Take a week off.
Yeah, what do you think? We're Operation Love Charlie over here. We just dip out on the show whenever we want.
I mean, yeah. It was.
Bro, we hated you all before. Oh yeah. At least you're honest about
it. Yeah, that's hey, Cape Cod. Yeah, I mean it was a shitty deal. So I got this shed out in behind my house. It's a ways, it's probably 20 or 30 feet away from the house, and
so a storage shed.
Yeah. So, okay. And what we had stored in there was basically a bunch of collapsed boxes and like some styrofoam and some plastic and stuff that we were gradually throwing away.
All right.
But it was, when we moved here, there was a significant amount of cardboard.
Well, I know boxes. You said you had a lot of boxes, from the past.
So, and you only get, little plastic bin to throw your garbage away in and a recycle bin. So it's not like we could throw a lot of stuff away. So recently we had taken to just stacking up cardboard out in the driveway and just lighting it on fire, because here in Tennessee you can do that. Don't want something, you can light it on fire. It's just fantastic.
My bills, I lit them on fire. I didn't.
And no, NorCal, the whole time I lived in California, I never once had any kind of snake in or around my house.
What, do you have snake problems, NorCal?
I had a friend.
I'm sorry. Tangent.
I did have a friend who got a fairly good size rattlesnake in his backyard, because his backyard butted up to kind of a little barranca thing. And
I bet Robert has snake problems all the time.
I don't know if they have any snakes up there. And just two-legged ones. I hear that, NorCal. But yeah, so we had a bunch of cardboard and crap. Now, over the last couple of months, we've been taking them out slowly and have a little mini bonfire in the driveway there with the cardboard. My wife has been the one who has primarily been the one out there dragging the cardboard out, because we typically do it while I'm working.
Because he normally makes his wife do all the work, is what.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what's good to having a wife if you can't, force her to do hard labor.
Sorry, Victoria.
It's okay. She doesn't watch the show, so she won't.
We're safe. All right.
Unless mom or dad's watching, and then they'll tell her, and that's that.
Burn barrel. Yeah, we used to have a burn barrel, Cape Cod. How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Here, I don't even need the barrel. I could just burn shit. The guy that owns the property that's over to the left of me, he has never built a house on it, and it's just like this big weed patch. He comes every sort of the end of the spring. He comes and he pulls all the weeds out, stacks them up a pile, and he just lights that shit on fire. I believe there are no known snakes in Alaska other than trouser snakes.
Which is like a 3-to-1. If you've ever been to Alaska, there ain't no women there.
Yeah. But yeah, so last Wednesday, we're planning on burning some boxes. My wife is on her way out to the shed. And as she gets close to the shed, she sees something kind of wriggling around there's a double door. And right in the middle of the double door, there's this thing that's wriggling around there. And it is a baby rattlesnake that has gotten itself wrapped up in a piece of tape that is also connected to a piece of plastic. And it tried to escape the shed, but it couldn't because the hole wasn't big enough for the plastic. So it's basically kind of dangling there, pseudo strangling itself. She very casually, which I'm surprised, casually says, "Hey, come out here." So I'm on my way out there, and she's like, "There's a snake." I was like, "Oh," because there was a snake out there before, but it was just a big black rat snake. So we didn't really care. So I'm walking out there, and as I get closer, I see this little tiny snake running around. I'm getting closer. I'm like, and that looks like a baby rattlesnake. What would that be doing here?
See, now the whole time I'm thinking this is a great prank for later because I can take a snake and I can tape it up on a little tape and hang it in somebody's doorway.
Turns out that timber rattlesnakes have their babies in towards the beginning, middle, end of September. It's a perfect time. So sure enough, you get out there, look closer at it, and it is indeed baby timber rattlesnake. So I'm like, oh crap. My first instinct was, oh man, poor thing, he's stuck in the tape. And then I'm thinking, there's no way I can get him out. He's literally stuck in that tape. I'm not sticking my hand down there because the baby ones are the worst. You don't want to get bit by a baby venomous snake because they have zero concern. Mr. Clifton. So
Oh, you're a funny guy. Yeah, don't even get me started on those jerk offs.
We'll get there. So anyhow, the baby snake is wriggling around there, and I don't really know what to do with it. So I get a stick that I typically use for poking the fire, and I kind of get it undone from the door, and I kind of drag
it out. Very man-like, you grab a stick. We grab a stick first because we need a stick.
So I kind of drag it out into the grass, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to kill it because you're not, I just didn't want to kill it. So I called Tennessee Wildlife Recreation or whoever, TWRA. Like, hey man, I got a rattlesnake, baby, and it's kind of wrapped up in plastic. I ain't touching it. What do I do with this thing? And the guy was like, well, we don't really handle that. You can call an exterminator and they can come out and grab it and relocate it for you. That's probably the best you can do. So I was like, oh, well, that's okay. That's not bad. Well, baby rattlesnake, I don't have to kill it. He'll get relocated, get himself a happy new home. Yeah, well, exterminators charge you $80 per snake. Now, in the time that I'm talking to the exterminator on the phone, he explains that you found one? Like, yeah, one. He's like, yeah, there's more. He's like, it was in your shed? And I was like, in my shed. And he's like, yeah, typically timber rattlesnakes can have anywhere from 9 to 15 babies. And they're live births, so that you're not going to see any eggs. And I'm like, oh, so there's probably a dozen living in my shed right now. That's fantastic. As I'm like backing my wife up and backing away from the shed, I was like, okay, well, I can't burn it because there's too many trees around the shed. Because my initial thought was,
yeah, you're
gonna burn the whole shed to the freaking ground.
We're gonna
let the shed.
We're going to go out to orbit and nuke this
bitch. So that wasn't an option. So next option was, okay. And he says, yeah, typically, and he says, so, it's probably going to cost you quite a bit for us to come out there and rid you of your snake problem. I was like, okay, what are my other options? And he's like, well, you can just kill them. Like, well, that's easy because I kill snakes all the time. That's what I do. He's like, he's like, yeah, you just get your shovel and you figure out wherever the nest is at. And when they come out of the nest, he says, once you disturb the nest, they'll come out of the nest. Once you disturb the nest, you just punk with the shovel. Okay. Like matter of fact, like, dude, easy pie. No problem. I'm like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, the little baby fucker is still squirming around the grass all wrapped up in the tape because I don't necessarily want to kill him. So I basically I'm not going to spend like $600 to have an exterminator to come out here.
I like this idea of the danger room shed.
Yeah.
Just snakes in a shed. It's $10 to enter. And if you leave, you get $5 back.
Yeah. It's free to get in. It'll cost you $10 to get out.
No, they ain't getting out. Once they're in, you got to charge them before they get in there.
So at this point, I realized I don't have a shovel. I don't have like a real shovel. I have a little baby like gardening shovel. So I go down the hill and get my neighbor, my 70-plus-year-old ex-Marine neighbor. Like, hey man, you got a shovel? He's like, sure. What do you do some digging? I was like, no, I got to kill some snakes. And he's like, oh. He's like, well, what do you got? Copperhead or rattlesnake? I'm like, rattlesnakes. And he's like, oh. He's like, one? I was like, for now. This is baby. And he was like, oh, you got a nest? Yeah, got a nest. So he's like, I got a couple. So he grabs shovels, come back up the hill up here, and we start poking around in the pile that's there. And in that pile is an air mattress. When my wife and I first moved here and we didn't get any of our stuff for 2 months, we got an air mattress so we had something to sleep on. That air mattress was out there. Poked the air mattress. A flock of baby rattlesnakes comes out of this. Now, my neighbor is inside the shed, and I am outside the shed.
This is how brave Rich is, by the way.
And my first instinct, now Roger had the stick, but he also had his shovel leaning up against the wall.
Okay.
So he was poking with the stick. My first instinct is because two of them fuckers came right for the door. And I am and I'm bashing the hell out of these two little baby snakes. The other ones have started to just scatter in the shed, of which where he is standing. 70-plus-year-old man sprints for the door, grabs a shovel, sprints for the door, jumps over several snakes out the door, and then immediately turns around, and we both are just smashing snakes. Initial smashing, we took out maybe 3 or 4. After that, they had scattered and they were hidden, but we managed to keep them in the shed.
This is great. It's like wave 1. The first wave was taken out easy, but
for the next 45 minutes or so, my neighbor and I are now tag teaming. When we see one, we kind of prod it to get it moving, and then the other one smashes it with the shovel. Except every time that it gets close and we get close enough and it starts squirming away, generally in our direction, both of us scream like little girls repeatedly. And here's my wife with her phone. So I don't even know how long the whole ordeal went on, but it went on.
Wait a minute, because you said NorCal just asked too. Where is the mom in all this?
We haven't seen the mom. That's the other trick. Still haven't seen mom timber rattlesnake.
Barbecue snake.
Although
I like this soup idea.
I
Sorry.
have, so on one side of my house, so I'm at kind of like 3/4 of the way to the top of the hill.
There aren't a lot of snakes in Michigan, though, are there, Jesse?
Barbecue snake burgers.
I didn't think there were many snakes in Minnesota because it's too cold in that area.
Yeah. Well, you'll get snakes. You'll just you
They're
won't
not.
get a lot of venomous.
I think like
venomous.
garter snakes, bull snakes, but
So essentially, what happened was I spent a better part of my day smashing snakes, and by the time early afternoon rolled around, like you get that adrenaline rush, and you're going like that for a while, and then after it's all said and done, there is the crash. I literally had an adrenaline crash, so much so that I didn't even clean up carcasses. I just closed the shed door after I was sure that they were all dead. I just closed up the shed door and I walked in and I sat down on the couch, and within 10 minutes I fell asleep and slept for like an hour and a half.
yeah, like
And
little green garden snakes. Yeah, that's about all you get there, and they don't get very big.
um and here Eastern Tennessee only has two venomous snakes, the timber rattlesnake and a copperhead. Copperheads are kind of nasty because they're ornery. It's just an ornery snake. Timber rattlesnakes are very timid. You can literally as long as you don't step on it,
Yeah,
you'll literally just sit and hide.
a lot of the times you'll almost step on them before you find them.
Yeah. Copperhead, you get in the general vicinity, it'll just slither right up and bite you just because it's like, well, you're close enough. Close enough is close enough. Rat bastard, I'm going to bite you. Sucks to be you.
What is up, everybody? Thanks for coming in this Wednesday.
Yeah, hey, Jesse.
Joining us for the snake smashing set. That sounds like a band. I want you to start. It's you and your neighbor, just like squealing like little girls the whole time.
And the sound of
just banging shovels
that a shovel makes when it's being banged on the ground.
That sounds great. Smashing snakes.
I knew when we moved out here that we're moving to a rural area. I mean, shit, I got deer constantly walking through my front yard, back behind the house, all over the place. My front yard is literally littered with deer shit all over the place. My daughter comes over with her dog, and he'll be out there for 40 minutes just eating deer poop, wandering around the front yard, just enjoying the shit out of himself.
Just ticks, and I don't like mosquitoes. I have to be a little careful here depending on where I'm at, because we do actually have scorpions and stuff in places. I mean, it's not. I've seen some bears. Did you know that Bigfoot just got sighted here?
Yeah. Bigfoot lives in Colorado. Who would have known? He's a Mile High guy.
But yeah, I mean, snakes in the Black Hills, you got to be a little careful. Out in South Dakota, there's some places that I ran into some snakes, but here in Colorado, I haven't really had a problem necessarily. They seem to be, I don't know, maybe I just haven't had enough wilderness experience out here.
Well, riding and racing in the desert we saw quite a few Mojave rattlesnakes. I used to have a video where I was actually riding right behind a buddy of mine, and we dropped into this little washed out section of the trail, and I was maybe 10 feet behind him when we were doing maybe 20 miles an hour or so, and he dropped in, and there was a Mojave rattlesnake that was coiled up just off to the right side on the trail, and he just happened to be on the left-hand side of the trail when he dropped down there, and when he went by, that thing struck at him at his feet as he was riding by. It missed, but it struck as he was riding by. That meant that he launched himself right in front of me, and I ran over him. But as I was running over him, I managed to get spun around back far enough on my bike that you could see it getting spit out by the back tire and getting thrown about 20 feet in the air and about 30 feet behind me. Luckily, there's nobody behind me.
Flying snake while you're riding. Nothing like that, huh? You come up over the next crest and it's like, oh shit!
Literally, somebody threw a snake at me. What the fuck?
What are you gonna get at the store? I'm hungry. Be careful. Be safe.
I lost a bunch of motorcycle footage. I had a laptop that died that had a bunch
of... State of Minnesota, only 2 venomous? Oh, okay.
Timber rattlesnake in the eastern... Woo, hey.
JM!
Masa, I don't even know. Masa Waga Haga Haga.
Yeah, I'm not... Yeah. What is it? It's that Native American tribe that was in Minnesota, named half that shit.
Yeah.
I can't say half the Minnesota names.
JM, what's happening?
Tidbit of information there. Green Frog, I love that shit.
Yeah. Like I know Tennessee only has 3 total venomous snakes. The timber and the copperhead are here on the eastern side, and then they have them on the west. Those on the west side of the state, but they also have water moccasins there, primarily the Mississippi and the Tennessee River. They got big rivers, so they have the river snake there, but we don't have water moccasins here. Although I did see that somebody caught an alligator in Chattanooga.
Nice.
A little disconcerting. I don't want alligators here. That's why I live as far north as I did, or moved as far north as we did. Otherwise, I would have probably been, maybe North Carolina, South Carolina. But they have gators. I don't want alligators. I don't like them. They got big mouths and teeth, and should I decide to be close to water, I don't want to be the entire time.
I saw some Facebook video the other day of some dude, and he must have been completely fucking high because he's fucking with an alligator. Like he's like fucking with the gator. He's all up in the gator's face and everything, and then he makes the piss poor move of reaching his hand down underneath the gator's jaw, and that's when it goes to lunge at him, and it gets him in the knee. And I'm like, yeah, those things don't just bite; they break bones, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, alligators have a tremendous bite force. Their bite is incredibly strong.
But I mean, I've had I had to laugh, man.
So the world
chupacabras.
Yeah, speaking of alligator, the world record alligator gar, which is basically a fish that has an alligator's head on it. They caught one in Texas that broke the world record at 283 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
It's like 7.5 feet long.
Wow.
And its girth is like 3 feet or something.
That's what I tell the ladies.
It's more of a scary looking fish than actually scary to people. I know there are some accounts of garfish biting people, but because that was one of the things that the Texas Wildlife was talking about doing for the Rio Grande, was releasing a bunch of alligator gar into the Rio Grande to stop people from crossing the river. Because you see a 4-foot long fish that's got the head of an alligator on it.
No, you just got the Great Lakes up there, and who knows what's in there. You got like Great Lake Nessie or something.
Yeah, because I think the Great Lakes have those lampreys, which is that like the eel thing with the round mouth that just has like
I don't
big
know,
gnarly teeth on it.
All I know is like every time when I went fishing at the Great Lakes, Yeah, you stand on the dock.
Well, that's like anywhere in the South. You don't see very many people fishing from the shoreline in the South because chances are.
Exo Cage wouldn't know fun if it smacked him in the fucking face.
Did anyone catch Exo Chasement where he said the Armaguard is the funnest RC he has drove in a long time?
The Armagorgon, I wanted to talk about that too, and the fact that it's nickel metal hydrate, and everybody's getting a kick out of how much power it has. Yeah, well, we could have done this a long fucking time ago, and we just didn't. I mean, this isn't it. You guys, that's the part that pisses me. This isn't anything new, really. This is them fucking jerking us around with the technology that they do have.
Well, and this is typical because this is the same crap that everybody said. And it's the same crap that everybody says all the time whenever you see videos on YouTube of somebody doing unboxing or reviews is all the guys who get them ahead of time never have anything. They never have anything bad to say.
Where's
I
Earl?
was going to get into
Earl might be the only.
Well, Earl's just because Earl's straight up. He's not an
influencer. Yeah. Lake sturgeon are nasty. Lakes out. Yeah, I've caught a lake. I caught a lake sturgeon one time. Ugh.
And they're freaking huge. Sturgeon get to be ridiculous.
Just a real side note. Yeah, I was out in Minnesota on a boat, and we were trolling in the water. I know you shouldn't do that, but anyways, I had my lure out there and running it behind the boat, and I mean, I caught something, and I had to have help because I was only like 12 years old. And we pulled it in, and it was a lake sturgeon that, I mean, I shit you not, my arms weren't big enough to hold the fucking thing. And I was like afraid as a kid because I saw the teeth on that thing. It's like, oh my God, that's in the water.
That's River Monsters, the show that was on. I remember it was TNN, TNT. It was one of those cable thing, and it was the guy's name is Jeremy, and he's like fisherman. And he just went around looking for river monsters.
30 foot down the river.
He did go to, I want to say he went to British Columbia because there were rumors that that's where the biggest sturgeon in the world were. And yeah, NorCal. He literally pulled like an 18-foot sturgeon.
Yeah.
In this little crap.
No, this wasn't that big. I mean, I think maybe, and I, I was a kid, but I think maybe 4 foot, 5 foot. I don't think it was. But anyways, what else?
I guess the big ones are fairly rare enough.
This Gorgon piece. Speaking of snakes, speaking of shit, in this Gorgon piece of shit. I don't know, man. It's cool. It's not like it's not cool. I think it's neat. And the price point
is Gorgon a real monster truck? Is it like one of the Monster Jam?
I think so. I know. I just thought it was a mythical monster, honestly.
I thought Gorgon was the one from Mortal Kombat, wasn't he? That's got the multiple arms. He was the final boss in one of them.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's Goro.
Ah, okay.
Doing a ready to assemble kit.
1 hour assembly time.
Huh.
Yeah, I only briefly looked at the Gorgon because it was,
it does look to be tough. I've seen people out there, like I said, I think if you throw the nickel metal hydrate that comes with it in there and just bash it, you're going to have a great time with it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these guys fucking had this technology for 5 fucking years, and then this is what they do with it. Like they could have done this for us with these motors 5 years ago. They just chose not to.
Yeah.
My other thought about the Gorgon is it's also just a copy of. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like like a Stampede or something that's all beefed up.
Oh, okay. It's a van. So So why are they using nickel metal hydride?
Well, because the new motor that comes in that thing is bitching.
What's so special about it?
Well, I mean, it just the energy that it produces off the nickel metal hydride is enough to push it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's brushed. It's not even brushless. It's brushed. That's the thing. It's a brushed motor.
I mean, brushed motors that's old technology.
But
Been
that's
around.
but I'm just saying, yeah,
I'm
they
trying
could
to
have
remember.
they could have upped those brush motors forever ago. They could have upped brush motors forever ago, but that's not where the money was. The money was in brushless. The only
Yeah, well, I
reason
mean,
the only
no
reason
matter
they re-upped a brush motor and did that was so they could make it at an affordable price point for you people.
well, and I mean, realistically, that's really what the motivation is.
Right
Um,
now, nobody wants to pay like $400 for an RC, and they know that.
yeah, I mean, 169.99 is a heck of a deal for a.
Well, and go look at the rest of the lineup. So, I mean, most of the lineup you're starting off at what, maybe $200-300. I think $300 is some of the cheapest on the 3S or 4S lineups. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, you're looking at $600 to $700 for a decent. I mean, at that end, $149 for a nickel. I mean, that's a great. If anything, it's a great kid's first RC. That's how I'm going to look at this one. I
It's a
can.
great beginner basher.
Yeah, here you go. Here's a
Great.
beginner basher. Yeah.
Looks like several Chinese companies' toy grade chassis. It does. And my first glance at it looks like an Amazon rig.
Yeah, Gorgon
Monster
monster.
figure in Greek mythology. Homer
And
spoke of single Gorgon, a monster of the underworld.
wasn't the Gorgon the one to actually turn you into stone?
That's Medusa.
Yeah, but she was a Gorgon.
Oh, that's with snakes for her. You are 100%. She was a Gorgon. Hmm.
Now I don't know
Man,
if that was actually in Greek mythology or not.
bam.
I've read a little Homer, but I'm not as good as Green Frog over here.
I have. It has been so long since I picked up
Yeah,
a book.
and I'm sorry. I keep going on.
Um,
The price being the breaking point there. That's what I would say. So if they'd have put a brushless motor in there, what another what 100
you'd been
bucks?
another $100 easily.
Yeah.
$279, and which wouldn't have been a
So
terrible price for a brushless version of that. But I agree, this is a great kid or first time basher that you're not was the only Gorgon who was mortal, hence her slayer. Perseus was able to kill her.
now I remember.
Yeah, Percy Jackson.
I was thinking if you play Assassin's Creed.
Well, the Percy Jackson was the bastardization of Greek mythology.
Oh God!
Try and make it into modern times.
I do remember the movie. Siri makes me look good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think price point for a lot of RCs at this point, I think companies are realizing right now, being in the consumer market business with Ream, we know and we're planning. We know that hard times are coming. Ream is already talking about things that we're going to do differently, and price points is one of the things. Because obviously air conditioner in certain parts of the world, air conditioner is very important. And being able to afford one is important. But I think probably Horizon Hobbies is also recognizing, because business and financial forecasters are saying that, things are not.
Moorhead. Sorry.
Earl.
We were talking about you earlier. Did your ears itch?
Yeah, half the workers in California are on strike. Which I got another thing to bring up about California, but I'm going to save that one for a little bit. But yeah, hard times are on the horizon, no pun intended. And Horizon's obviously recognizing that price point is going to be probably pretty key moving forward, especially in a hobby that is luxury. These are luxury items. They're not cheap. They're not cheap to buy. They're not cheap to maintain, and it is an extravagance that
City
the
buses and Kaiser Medical Field and Studios.
and I think the writers are still on strike at this point.
No, I don't
Mr.
think
Brown, 500 points for running late.
don't think you missed anything yet. We haven't gotten too
You
crazy. We
did,
talked about.
y'all did miss my snake story though.
I was gonna say, yeah, I know we talked about starting a band called Smashing Snakes.
Long story short, the reason why there was no show last week was myself and my neighbor smashed 12 baby timber rattlesnakes that were born in my shed.
Now that is
Man
there's
stuff.
an interesting contradiction to things. Are they going to release a new Ripper? Because Vanquish has the consumer in mind. Aren't they going to release a $10,000 crawler again? And I think that they are. I really think that they're going to.
I have a feeling because
Uh,
Josh and Matt both have been mentioning the Ripper a lot lately in
here's
their
the thing.
videos.
Here's the thing about that. I mean, they already know. They know that they have the orders for whatever. Those guys aren't dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
they've got enough people on the hook already who have already asked them to do this that if they decide to pull the trigger on it, they've made their money. You don't have to worry about that.
yeah. Vanquish is um I mean the Ripper is still something that people, if one showed up on eBay, it would be gone in a day or two. And
Well, and now there's
I'd be
like
willing to
I
bet
see
that
high end collectors. I see like real high, like people who have millions of dollars now are interested in these things. You
yeah,
know, this guy has 3 fucking Ferraris. He's also got 3 Rippers sitting on his shelf because he likes to collect them. So believe me, yeah, if they pull the trigger on making a new Ripper, they've already paid for it. It's just
yeah.
whatever they make on overhead is gravy. I mean,
And I think that they have enough ideas from the first
$8,000.
one.
Whew.
I think they have enough ideas from the first one
They know what
that they could make some significant changes to it that would increase its value over even the first one.
because
JM,
forever Josh didn't want to make it. He didn't want to. They didn't want to do another one. So if they, like I said, if they pull the trigger on the other one, it's bought and paid for and said and done. They've already decided. Yeah,
it would be they've had enough people contact them that say, I will
it's got a
give you
Vanquish name on it, and it's the
I'll
old.
give you $5,000 for one of those if you make me one. And but yeah, that's
Yeah, what's so special? It's got a Vanquish name on it, and it's got a number, and you probably got one out of 1,000.
Also that the entire truck was machined. It was made out of billet. The cage was machined out of billet. The body was machined out of billet, which is.
And I don't think they're gonna do it that same way again. I think they're gonna change up the format of how they do that. But yeah, I mean, you got to understand this thing was a block of metal, all one piece, and then they cut it all out. Yeah,
they
CNC from a
everything
block. Yeah,
out of billet aluminum. Now, obviously, I would think, the next go around, you make a welded chassis, you make a formed aluminum body, so that you save yourself from what I can only imagine is thousands of dollars in aluminum chips all over the floor.
It probably was a nightmare, like he said. I know that they didn't want to do it again. So I know that if I got a good feeling that if Josh says, if Vanquish says yes, we're doing this, they already know that they've got the money in the bank for it. They ain't losing out on anything. So what about I don't know. A lot of people ask that. Do you drive it or do you set it on your shelf, Rich? You got Vanquish.
If it came to a ripper, I would probably drive it a few times, gingerly, and then it would be a shelf queen.
I would put a scratch in it. Yeah, I'd probably get rolled over once.
I mean, it's for that kind of money for me. I have no interest in getting one. I never really did. To me, it was a gimmick kind of deal. It was just bankers wanted to see if they could do it, and they did.
Yeah.
But
there was a point when I had the money, I could have bought one, but
I just didn't.
Dude, you can buy like 8 X Maxes for like Jesus Christ, man.
And I mean, it's performance-wise, it's absolutely no better than BS410, probably BS410 Ultra or the Phoenix.
Do you know how many views you would get if you took that to a skate park and ripped it? Oh my God. I would love to watch that.
Yeah.
And then I would cry.
Replica NASCAR bodies. Yeah, the Wood Brothers.
A couple primer laminators. Yeah, man. You're fucking $8,000. $8,000. I could have a Corvette for $8,000. Fuck me.
I could build a track day car for $8,000.
Yeah.
I could. There's Exo's next video, right? I mean, I've so had it with influencers in general.
I've so had it with the RC world in general. I'm so tired of all this bullshit. There's this lie, this whole fucking
for
layer.
Me, it's not even just the RC world.
I mean, the whole
influencers
world
in general.
I got a topic today though, but yes.
There's a young guy, 24 years old. He just got sentenced to 40 years in prison. I believe in like Pennsylvania or New Jersey or something like that.
Let's see. 8K. Let's see.
I could buy a lot of weed for 8K. Hell yeah.
I was just gonna see how much I could actually get for that real quick.
So
it made me wonder.
This guy was buying stuff from Alibaba in bulk. You know, he would buy 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of these things at 30 cents a piece. He would then go out and hire himself a couple of influencers, and he would pay them $25,000, $30,000 to make a couple of reels or YouTube shorts or whatever, talking about, or TikTok talking about this thing. And he had the whole Coney Island shtick thing where these people would say, "Oh, you type in this code, you get it for 100% off. All you pay for is shipping." And then the shipping is like $12. So this guy's buying the stuff from Alibaba for 30 cents a piece, selling them for $12. He's paying all of the applicable sales taxes and things like that, but he's skirted somehow the import tariffs and all of that, because basically he was saying he was buying all these things for like personal use, not for resale. So he wasn't paying some import tax or something that he was supposed to be paying at it. And this guy's making like 40 or $50 million a year. It's like, I think he's 23 or 24. 40 or $50 million a year doing this over and over and over and over again. And he's been doing it for 5 or 6 years. 5,000, 10,000 of these things at 30 cents a piece. And he basically started off real small. He's buy like 1,000 of them for 30 cents. He's dropped like $300. And then he would he started out by telling influencers, "I'll give you 5% of everything I make on this." And so they would make a video and blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, now he's built up the empire. He's making $40, $50 million a year. And he finally they finally pop him for not paying the correct import taxes. So they sentence him to 40 years in prison or something ridiculous like that. But they were saying like the chances are he's going to spend like 8 to 10 years in a white collar prison, a country club prison. And he has to pay a total of like it was somewhere between $8 and $10 million in penalties and fines. So he's going to do 8 years in the country club prison. He's going to get out a multimillionaire. I think he said that his empire was worth over $100 million at this point, basically in liquid cash.
Wow.
He's in jail for 8 years or so. And he's going to come out as a multimillionaire when he's like 30 years old. And the sad part about it was all these influencers that he was paying, and he was scripting out the commercials and everything for them to do it. And it basically, he's just buying cheap shit from China and reselling it under a different name. And he would just make up some name, and then he would tell the influencers, you make the video as if you are a representative of the company, and you're giving people this awesome backdoor deal where you're going to get this thing for 100% off. But really, we're only losing 30 cents on giving this thing away. We're making $12 on the shipping.
It's when we're burning money to stay warm, Earl. That.
But
the fact I don't trust influencers any further than I can throw them. I like that green frog.
Millions of people fell for this. Okay, I know one of the products that he sold was something called the blank it, and it was blank/et, and it was basically a blanket that you could fold up and stuff inside of itself, and it makes a pillow. Now, these things have been around forever. My stepmom made a bunch of them, knitted, quilted a bunch of them. They've been around forever. And this guy was literally giving them away for free and charging $12 a piece for shipping on them. And he was literally paying like 76 cents a piece for these things out of China. And people are buying these things like they were going out of style. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. It's a blanket that folds into itself and makes a pillow. This is the reason why all of our Congress people are fucking 90 years old. Because we don't trust the younger generation to do things responsibly and not get suckered in to buying a fucking pillow blanket for free, but pay $12 shipping and handling. I remember infomercials. I was just going to say the ShamWow. But wait!
There's more!
ShamWow, you get a second one for free, and you get the 501c3 butt plug. Free! Absolutely free!
Thanks for the comment on the live stream. I appreciate that. I don't know if it was kick-ass, but we'll probably, I don't know, I was thinking we'll probably do an after show. What is it? I was thinking that the after show should be called the shit that didn't need to be said show.
Yes, I think it is a fantastic idea to have an after show because for me, I do it early because I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And because JB is close to the West Coast, it's perfect for the West Coast guys. I get the East Coast guys that can pick up the show, and then we get the East Coast guys that pick up the after show. So it's like a win-win for everybody. Yeah, man, the ShamWow. That is
Scam wow.
There were a few things that I remember from like the 80s. There was one that was called Ari 2000. And the reason why I remember it was car wax. But the whole commercial was they would spray lighter fluid. They put the car wax on, they would spray lighter fluid on, they would light it on fire.
I remember this.
And they'd be like, yeah, look, it repels fire. It's so good. Well, the trick is you put the fire out quick enough because the lighter fluid burns on the surface and it stays relatively cool. and it wouldn't leave a mark on the hood of a car, no matter what was there. It wouldn't leave a mark if you stopped it quick enough. But my buddy and I did it was like the 24.95 special where we got like a
Hell,
dozen. We got like a dozen bottles of that shit. Yeah, Ron Popeil. He was the man. But yeah, we got like a dozen bottles of this shit because we thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever because it was supposed to be, like Teflon technology. And back then, Teflon was a big deal. Teflon technology, nothing will stink. We were dirt track racers. So if we could find something to put on the car that the mud wouldn't stick, man, think about how much easier our life is going to be.
right? I'm
And
gonna wash the bike so hard when I get back.
yeah, so we used it a couple of times and it didn't work at all. It was just like regular car wax was what it was, and mud stuck to it just like it stuck to everything else.
Definitely fall here as well too, Jesse. It's getting cooler. The trees are changing.
Yeah,
Going to be the end of October. Luckily, our days are still warm enough during the day. I got to turn on my swamp cooler for just a little bit during the day, and then
yesterday it was 85 degrees at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 7:30 last night,
it's like
it
45.
yeah, it dropped down to like 47 or
Yeah, that's
8.
yeah.
And then this morning it was 37 degrees outside.
Use WD-40 on sprint car wheels, huh?
Yep.
And that's the funny thing too. Like WD-40 and stuff like that. They don't use that on your RC car. Don't use that on your.
It
Well,
works freaking great. It works fantastic.
you can use it on there, yeah, but you might have to wipe the dirt back off. I mean, and even so, the dirt just wipes off. I mean,
Well, like the thing that we ended up, and it's still used predominantly today for sprint cars, is baby oil.
on our
They
snow
just
shovels.
they
That's
just
in it.
they
With
just
wet,
spray the
heavy
car
snow,
down with baby oil. Baby oil.
baby oil.
Non-stick. Yeah.
Yeah. Pledge on the semi truck. Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. RE 2000. I remember it. I mean, we were so pissed because, like I said, we bought like the deal where we got like 12 bottles of that shit, and then it was like, now what are we gonna do with this stupid crap? Yeah. So how about the congressman last week who decided that
Oh,
he was going to miss a vote on something, so he decided to pull the fire alarm.
look at that. It's I see now. The after show is too late for him.
Hey, ooh ah, what's cracking? Yeah, that's kind of where the 5:30 thing came in. It's still pretty late in the UK. I think he's still. I think it's still sometime around midnight over there right now.
Now, I'm sorry, Rich. I was going to ask NorCal to cue you a soapbox. What were you going to say? You were talking. Pull the fire alarm.
The guy who pulled the fire alarm, Derek Bowman, his name is a Democrat congressman, and yeah, 11:30. He decided to pull a fire alarm, and then number one, I know in most places it's illegal. You get in trouble for pulling
Right.
a
You
fire
can't
alarm
just yeah.
if there's no fire alarm. And he used the excuse of, I thought it was the handle that opened the door. We have to do better. We literally need to do better with the people that we elect to make the laws in this country, because you in the amount of time that you had, you couldn't have come up with a better excuse like that. Like, you know what, I was walking down the hall there and I knew I was going to miss the vote and I was in a rush and this fly flew up and hit me right in the eye, right at the moment, and I kind of it's kind of blinking in it, and I reached out and accidentally grabbed the handle and pulled down on it. I mean, that's a better excuse than, I thought it was the thing you pulled down for the automatic doors. Dude, it's a big red thing with a big white handle on it that says fire alarm. And the video shows you looked at it. You looked at it.
That's the kind of super brains.
Yes, those are the people that are literally writing the laws of our country right now.
Bing bang,
And,
wanda bing bang.
and let's just talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Israel Hamas. I'm still staggered by the response from people who support Palestinians. So Saturday morning, Hamas gets up. Hey, you know what? We're gonna launch a bunch of fucking rockets. And they just Israel's like, oh, what the fuck? They turn around and start launching rockets of their own, and the Palestinians and Hamas are over there like, hey, whoa, what's with all the hostility, man? What the hell? What? You're blowing up innocent women and children over here and civilians. What the hell's going on? And then people over here in the States, they, over here, go Hamas, yeah, pro-Palestinians. It's Israel is an apartheid state. First of all, this was several female members of Democrat Party in Congress said this, which even the White House recognized their comments were, quote, repugnant. And yet, these are the people that are writing our laws. Rashid Tlaib, senator, Democrat senator, they asked her what they thought about Hamas beheading babies, because there's video footage of it. She refused to answer, just turned around and walked away. This is the same woman that 2 years ago said that Israel shouldn't exist because it's an apartheid state. What? First of all, apartheid was not. Apartheid was in South Africa, and it was because the white South Africans treated the black South Africans as less than human, pretty much. For decades, they did this. They treated them like.
Oh, it's like being on the show with Rich, then. Okay.
And as far as everybody knows, Israel doesn't. They don't treat Palestinians badly. They respond when they launch bombs and suicide bombs and shit like that. They have the right to defend themselves. As a matter of fact, Israel even gave up a whole chunk of its country, which is now called the Gaza Strip, just so that the Palestinians had their own place. And here you go. You want your own place, here you go. I mean, how many countries are willing to do that? It's not very common. Not to mention the whole Palestinians claim that this is their land and they were there, that it's entirely untrue. History shows that there have been many, many empires that have occupied the territory around Jerusalem.
I think NorCal's right in his statement. That region of the world has been in conflict for thousands of years and will continue to be until the dude with the cross comes back. If that's the case, if that's even the case, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. I'm just saying, what if that never even happens? What if it's just constant war there? But still, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's a very religious place, so there's religion war.
It is a place of religious significance for a bunch of different religions. And up until 1948, when Israel became an official state, Muslim, Arab, Christians, Jews, they had all lived relatively peacefully around Jerusalem and kind of shared the area. It wasn't until Britain signed off on to the UN on Israel becoming its own sovereign nation. That's when they decided to get all pissed off. And it wasn't even then that it wasn't until the 60s when a young Yasser Arafat took control of the PLO and started with basically wanting to wage war on Israel because that was Palestine. But it wasn't. It was only Palestine because that's what Great Britain called it when they have that territory when they basically negotiated for that territory from the Ottoman Empire, who had it before that. And before the Ottoman Empire, there was the Byzantines, the Romans, the Mongolians that all occupied that territory at some point. So who's to say who's? It belongs to everybody. It just does. If you guys can't stop launching rockets, well, then you don't deserve to live there. Sorry. If you can't live there happily and peacefully, it's just like anywhere else. Now it's like Chicago. If you people can't learn to live with one another without shooting each other every other day, then maybe we should separate you. Maybe we should separate Chicago and put up some big giant walls around Chicago so that literally people can live in sections without being shot constantly.
All kinds of questions run through my head, like how much do bulletproof vests cost?
I also hear that the White House is now putting things in motion to start building the wall again across the southern border.
The wall,
which is interesting because it was in fact Joe Biden that on his first day in office said no more building the wall, everything will stop, there will never be a wall built during my administration, blah, blah, and actually went through and started selling some of the materials to build the wall. But considering that, I don't know, roughly 7,500 people a day are coming across the southern border.
Yeah, I think me and
we might need something to slow that down a little bit.
And I don't mean to jump off on Rich again, but I love to do this. What is that? It's dead, and to us, but the rich will. So to me, like, what was it? You said that there would be a race war, and to me, I think that it's going to be more of a class war.
Well, but here's the thing. Now, I was talking about a young man that told me 25 years ago that a race war was coming to this country.
Right.
And I agree. I think there is a bit more of a class war, but there's different factions in this country.
Yeah, for sure.
What you would consider to be middle, upper middle, lower class, because like your lower and middle class people of the South are not going to have anything to do with the lower and middle class people of the Northeast or the West, because there are some societal issues there.
Well, tell fucking Britain to take a Viagra and make that shit bigger. I don't know what to do about your size.
Great Britain's in trouble. Great Britain has actually a bunch of countries in Europe have a serious problem, a serious immigration problem of their own, and that is, yeah, French. It's 100% spot on, NorCal. Nobody likes the French.
Apparently YouTube does, because they didn't want you to post that.
Oh,
1,000 points. I'm going to give 1,000 points to the French for this one, honestly.
I'm going to give 10,000 points to NorCal and 1,000 points to the French just because I feel sorry for them and the fact that nobody likes them. Cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Yeah, I mean, Brexit, that whole thing, man, that pissed off the rest of Europe so bad, because, look, Great Britain has a pretty staggering economy for what a small nation physically it is. And when you look at countries like Belarus and Poland and I don't know, any one of them interior freaking European countries that they're living off of the euro. They're, most of Europe is broke as broke can be. And Germany, Great Britain, and France is basically footing the bill for everything.
we have a fucked international postal service now, and I had to let that comment slide because you used the word fucked.
Yeah. Did
I was going to
YouTube
say
try to?
something earlier, and you threw me way off course. I was going to bitch about something in the RC world, and I really had a point, and then I lost it. So I don't even. We were talking about influence earlier. Wow. And I know
You know what?
the Gorgon thing.
And I got one better than the Gorgon.
Okay, what do you got? Maybe
the ridiculous RC 4-wheel drive rock racer. Did you see any of the
no!
videos?
What the fuck is RC 4-wheel drive? How can RC 4-wheel drive? Everybody knows that shit breaks the minute you bash it against anything.
Here we go. Here we go. Where do I share the screen?
RC 4-wheel drive. The RC 4-wheel drive anniversary edition. Like a $700 something truck. Oh, this thing. Yeah, I have seen this thing.
Super scale. They went, oh, look at us. We can make super scale stuff. You know, they made it look the part. They got everything all right and handy dandy. But the problem is
have a good night, thanks for being here.
It's a yeah. Hey, thanks, it's a plastic roll cage. It's a completely tube chassis car, but it's all made out of plastic.
Yeah.
So it's going to be flimsy as shit. It's not going to perform well at all.
God, I swear to God, I've already seen people crawling these things, right?
Yeah, there's several influencers who made videos of this thing. It's a crawler that they made to look like a U4 rig. And nobody, I'll give slight kudos to Josh because he was very skeptical as to whether or not this thing would be race worthy or not to actually run like U4 races with it. But everybody else is like, oh, this is so great. This, it's a racer. It's going to be an awesome addition to, your U4 races and club races. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're going to take that thing over the first rock at half speed and 5 things are going to break off of it. Unless in typical RC 4-wheel drive fashion,
you're going to upgrade
buy this thing and you're going to spend $400 in aftermarket parts to make it so that it's not a giant piece of shit.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I watched several videos and I was like, oh, you know what? It looks cool, but that's all it is. It just looks cool. And for crying out loud, RC 4-wheel drive, you guys, they're the scale kings, hands down. They make the best scale looking shit out there.
I give them
Can
that.
you not take the time to do some actual engineering and
that breakage makes it become more scale?
Yeah, well, just make it so that it doesn't break. You know what? NorCal is actually spot on right there. That, you take this thing full blast over a single rock and like 15 different things are going to break on it. Would be exactly what happens to the real thing. Because I don't know if anybody's ever been to King of the Hammers to see how gingerly those guys go over.
No, they're not.
Rocks.
They're not nice.
They're not flying over them at 60 miles an hour. They're very, very cautiously going over the big parts. Now on the Baja jumps and the short course jumps and stuff, yeah, they're flying over that because the suspension can handle it. But
what's a rock race?
Blazing through
U4 racer. Well, I'm not. They're not. You can't race through rough rock terrain, but you can race through bounce rock terrain. I've seen them do. I've seen them fucking throttle the piss out of that shit through the rocks.
The funniest one I saw was the side by side at King of Hammers, and I think it was this last year. There's a YouTube couple that has they have a Jeep. Their channel is all about their Jeep and going off road and whatnot. And they did like a trophy truck style thing.
All right.
Or a buggy, and they went out there. And the gal's the one that typically does the driving. and she actually did fairly decent overall. Not bad for her first time out.
Jeep
And they, after they had got done, they went. The husband went out and ran in a side by side that was another YouTuber side by side, and they were talking about how bitchin' this thing was. $150,000 of shit in this, purpose built U4 King of Hammers side by side. That thing made it a quarter of a mile.
You finally jogged my memory. I remember what I wanted to talk about now.
A quarter of a mile.
And I don't want to harp on it or anything, but I think we should bring it up. You know that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah. Boobies.
I mean, who doesn't love fucking titties? Jesus, damn it. Right?
I know people who don't, and they're gay men or.
But this is what I got to say about this, because we talked about Vanquish earlier. This is my big beef, and you talk about the entire world. So this week, this is my fucking beef with this shit. Is Vanquish made pink wheels, and pink. And I understand. Okay, I understand. Pink is the color. I'm not upset about that, and I don't even mind that you put pink on the truck, because like pink, black, and green looks super hot. It's not that. But stop taking fucking real world bullshit and putting it into my hobby. Stop that shit. It's enough that it's in my fucking video games now. It's like I can't even escape it. You guys, fucking ridiculous. Like nowadays, so now I got to go out with my friend who's got his breast cancer awareness truck.
Yeah.
Like, dear fucking Lord, bro.
Or your autism awareness wheels, or your.
Okay, I could go on and on. I think I don't have to explain myself here. There's other fucking jokers, but
I totally get it.
But it's like, seriously, part of the hobby is the escape of it, right? I want to get out there, and then you guys are, breast cancer, like, it's got to be all fucking serious again. We're saving lives.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
When it's like, literally, no, all you did was you paid an extra $40 for the same wheels that you could have got in 5 other colors. You paid an extra $40 for those pink ones so that you could virtue signal to everyone going, look, I'm doing my part. Woo! It's just like the attitude that Prius drivers have always had. I'm saving the planet driving around in my hybrid vehicle, and you drive around in a Ford F-150, you piece of shit. You don't care about the earth. The smugness of, I'm doing something about a global problem and you are not. Oh, really? You're saving breast cancer by buying Vanquish's pink wheels? That probably Vanquish doesn't donate a single penny of that to breast cancer research.
We give it 10.
Or they donate $1 out of every purchase that goes to breast cancer research, which is a giant 501c3, and of that dollar that they collect, 1 cent of it actually goes to breast cancer awareness, just like every other charity that's out there on the planet.
Well, and like
how about The Rock apologizing for asking people to donate money for the Maui fire? I'm sorry that people who work hard for their money and are living paycheck to paycheck, and me, a millionaire, am asking them to donate money to a charity. Yeah, you and Oprah both, you assholes. Why don't you just donate the money yourselves? Because you could probably donate more money than you'll collect.
It's the same. I don't understand, because I've been on the other end of that, and I know where the money goes, and I can tell you that, man, fuck, it's a ripoff. It's a fucking ripoff.
It was several shows ago. Basher Boy was in here, and he asked, what, if I'm going to donate money, and I specifically said, I wouldn't. Personally, I think there's probably 2 valid charities on the entire planet who are actually doing any good. The American Red Cross, which is still a
Vegas.
multi-billion,
Yeah,
it's a multi-billion-dollar organization.
but do they help people? Yeah, I think they help. They helped me when my house burned down. So I
They
mean,
help a lot of people. When my mom's condo fell apart after the Northridge quake, American Red Cross was there with food and blankets and helped people survive. Salvation Army is another good one. But everybody else, it's a way to make money. It's a way to put money in your pocket. That's all it is. And virtue signal to talk about how you're helping people. Look at me and how I'm helping people because I collected $40,000 in shit this year. And, you know, I don't really do anything with it. You know, maybe I'll go buy myself a new car.
Need a
charge
nice
it off as an expense.
Nice new Chevy Silverado. Yeah.
Custom set of RC wheels auctioned for $1,000.
Yeah, it's a corporate tax deduction. Well, what about 501c3s that make their wives presidents? Anyways,
send us money. Friends and family. Friends and family.
Friends and family. Hold on, let me drop the link for you.
Asking me to give change to a random charity like that. Yeah, corporations, every single corporation knows exactly how much money they need to donate in order to get 100% of that tax written off. And they don't donate a penny more than that. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Not for profit is only skin deep. Yeah, it was what I was saying a few weeks ago. Nonprofits gone. There's nothing there. You make me president, there won't be anything tax exempt. Tax exempt will not exist anymore. Everybody pays taxes. I don't care who you are. You're a church, you pay taxes. You don't pay to everybody got to pay taxes like everybody else, unless you're poor.
You know,
and
yeah.
And then you don't need to pay for taxes because there's plenty of wealthy people. There's plenty of people out there who work for a living, get a paycheck, and pay taxes every year that can afford to pay whatever they pay in taxes. But if you got a bunch of, if you got a bunch of people living in inner cities that are not able to make money because of this situation. Detroit's a perfect example. There aren't very many jobs there. Now, yes, a lot of those people should just simply move out, move somewhere or go somewhere where you can get a job. But there are more people than there are jobs available. And so you have a lot of people that are just literally sitting around and can't do anything. Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay taxes. Now, I'm not saying give them a free ride. I mean, you shouldn't have, but yeah, you know, if you have a job working at Subway, you shouldn't have to pay any taxes. If that's your job, that's your sole income. If you have a family,
like below a minimum, like below a wage, like if you
have a husband,
wage, you don't have to worry about paying taxes at minimum wage, dog.
Well, like a husband, a wife with 2 kids. If you're making, if you live in California and you're making under $100,000, you're broke as shit. So yeah, you don't have to pay any taxes. Now, if you're a husband and a wife with 2 kids in Tennessee making $90,000 a year, you're not doing so bad. So you're paying taxes. So it's kind of relative as to where you live.
Sure.
But at the same point, somebody that makes $35,000 a year shouldn't be paying anything in taxes ever.
Back to blue, I like that. I'm with you on that. I don't like the police necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying I know they're just guys out there doing their job. Most of them, some of them are on a bit of a power trip, but that's all right. I do agree though that you should support your local law enforcement. I mean, these guys are out there trying to save your butts most of the time.
Okay. And honestly, police officer is probably one of the shittiest jobs there is. I've said it before, you don't run into people in their best times. The only time you're always dealing with people at their shittiest moments. Domestic, a domestic call where a husband and wife are beating the shit at each other. Yeah, that's a great thing. Deal with that all day. Get cussed out because you wrote some guy a ticket because he was doing 75 and a 45 mile an hour, and he berates you the whole entire time. So you deal with a couple of those things, and then you go home at night. And you gotta enjoy your life with your wife and your kids. It's a shitty job, and it takes a special kind of person.
Well, and sometimes you walk into some real shit.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
occasionally you're going to get the
McDonald's
guys
worker.
who do get the power trip, and I think that's an acceptable, because when they go crazy, then you punish them and say, don't do that again, and teach them a lesson, and hopefully they don't do it again. If they do it several more times, then yeah, you're fired. But for the most part, I think cops most of the time do a fairly decent job. That being said,
Well, they're doing the job too. I mean,
I did. I was relatively surprised over the weekend. We went to the Storytelling Festival
okay.
in Jonesboro, Tennessee. This is the International Storytelling Festival. It's a big
Oh
deal.
boy.
I didn't realize it was a big deal, but it's a big deal. Tons of people, like thousands and thousands of people show up. And the Jonesboro Police Department's a little on the rotund side. I noticed because they're all over town, like directing traffic and whatnot. And at one point, I was sitting out in front of a store while my wife and daughter were in the store, and I was just kind of casually sitting there relaxing. And I just kind of looking around. I was like, the cops here are big boys. They got.
It's
Not a lot going on in Jonesboro. I see. There's not a lot of foot chases going on around Jonesboro, if you get what I'm saying. But and on the flip side, I know, like in when we lived in Ventura, the Ventura PD is they're like Mr. and Mrs. Olympia.
Did you ask that
Participants.
Siri, or do you know that? Is that But if you're like me, Earl, you won't last long at McDonald's, because I couldn't work at McDonald's because I just everything that came across. Oh, you got a double quarter pounder with cheese? That's mine.
But I believe that is the new thing in California is fast food starts at $20 an hour.
Well, they're paying kids 15, I think here.
That's
You can start at 15, 18, depending on your experience.
I mean, $20 an hour is not bad.
Fuck no, man.
That's not a bad hourly rate. I mean, if you're working 40 hours a week at $20 an hour, you're not in bad shape. Now, California, you're not in great shape. Hopefully you're $20 an hour working at McDonald's. You're still living at home with mom and dad. And if you are, you're raking in money left and right. You can go out and buy an M3 BMW and pay $1,000 a month on it and still have plenty of money left over.
Well, since there's only 4 people watching the show, you know how ExoCage makes his extra money, right?
OnlyFans?
It's all glory hole. Let's see if that gets some views.
Hey, the other new thing that just happened in California, I saw today, the Ebony Alert.
The Ebony Alert?
Ebony Alert. It's just passed law in California.
What the fuck? Wait. What the fuck is the Ebony Alert, though?
You've heard of the Amber Alert, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For kids, right?
The Amber Alert is when a kid goes missing or has been abducted. The Ebony Alert is going to focus on Black kids specifically.
Right. Because we need to do that.
In California, you do.
Holy shit.
I can't believe that it is. We've gotten to the point where every left politician is now so intent on pandering to Black people that they're literally doing shit like this. An Ebony Alert, Really? That is not like the most racist thing that you have ever done in the state of California, is make a law that specifically says we have a whole system just
I'm
for that.
sorry. I am sorry. All I can think about is looking at my phone at the alert and being like, yeah, they got another one. No, that's
Sorry, I
awful.
laughed
I
at
know,
that
that's
'cause
awful.
it's 1,000 points to BSRC, Mr. JB, for the most racist thing that anybody's ever
I
said.
can think of. They're like, yeah.
And 1,000 points to everybody else who's laughing their ass off at that right now, because that's some funny shit right there.
And
And
I'll give 1,000 points to everybody
you know
just for
what?
being.
We should be able to laugh. And that's why this is the shit that needs to be said, show. We should be able to laugh at jokes like that because it's funny. But I guarantee you,
No,
tomorrow, I'm going to get emails from YouTube like, oh, ho, 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 ho. Community guidelines say that you can't do stuff like that. That is bad. You bad. Oh, man. When I saw that today, I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody on Twitter or X was literally making a joke post.
how
Like
could
Ebby
you?
Miller. That's
Yeah,
funny.
how could you not like what? This is like some of the
And
most insensitive bullshit that I've heard of in a long time.
my friend in California, my old boss actually texted me like, "Have you seen this shit?" And they have they have a logo for it and everything already. They're like, not only did they like pass the law today, but they knew that it was going to pass. They knew it was going to become a thing. So like tomorrow the website will probably be up and they'll probably start doing test runs and yeah.
So we're gonna have what? So Asian would be like a yellow alert.
You could still classify that under amber,
Could you?
kind of yellowish. Well, I mean, what? Because there can't be a white alert because
What if you're mulatto?
they would instantly just
I mean, what if the
they would
toner? What
instantly
if
would just
what if
be a
the,
Nazi
what if
symbol
the
that popped
printer
up on
ran
your
out of
phone.
ink and you're only like half? What if you're like mulatto?
Nah, shit.
Are they gonna have like a brown alert?
Well, brown alert. That's what Joe Biden gets all the time. Or the Secret Service gets from Joe Biden all the
This
time.
is a caramel color.
We got a code brown.
This is a caramel color alert. Yep.
Code brown.
Peach alert.
Yeah. I don't have the words. I don't have the words to, everything. I started noticing because I'm a lot more into the intricacies of Starfield now, and into the finer things because I've done everything in the game, so I'm just like doing random stuff. But I've started to take notice of the characters, the NPCs in the game. Just walk around a random city and look at the NPCs when you're in different cities, and you'll notice a theme.
Right.
At some point, they had an update where everybody at the beginning was like normal, skinny type people, like your run-of-the-mill NPC. They have overweight NPCs now.
Nice.
Which I don't understand why. Why do fat phobic people upset because there weren't enough fat NPCs in the game?
Stop putting that shit in my video game. I don't understand. Stop putting that shit in my hobby.
Well, so Amazon just recently changed so that now, I mean, it used to be that you had like Amazon Prime Video stuff where you just had stuff that you watched that didn't have commercials. Then they had a section where they would play stuff that had commercials in it. Well, Amazon just changed to where now everything has commercials on it, unless you want to pay an extra like $2 a month to not have commercials anymore. I don't, whatever, $2. I'm not paying $2 a month just to not have commercials. Although actually I probably am, because commercials are fucking annoying. Commercials are way more annoying than I remember them being.
Working at McDonald's. Yep. Just an NPC standing around.
But the thing that several people pointed out to me is, hey, just pay attention when you're watching commercials. Just pay attention. There are no white people in commercials anymore. They're not. White people don't.
Well, my first thing is okay, so you're in space, right? You're in space. People have been in space for over
a couple hundred years.
100 years. And everybody still has a fucking accent.
Yeah.
Okay, how does a person born on Mars have a fucking Indian accent? What the motherfuck?
Or a British accent, or a Russian accent, or yeah. How is it that people still have accents when? Yeah,
and it wasn't just like one character. It's like it's like multiple characters you run into. Like this one's got an Irish accent. And where the fuck is Ireland? It's gone. It's buried under the sand because there is no Earth anymore. How the fuck do you get?
Literally the Irish guy that's singing dirges. When you'll just randomly fly into a spot, there's this Irish guy singing a dirge. Like that's kind of racist. It's kind of racist that you got Irish guys singing.
But they weren't the first. Starfield wasn't the first video game to do that. If you go back to like Need for Speed Heat or whatever, they were putting in trans people in those video games and stuff already. I mean, it's been happening slowly. I don't think she can take no more, Captain. That's absolutely down to 3.
I'm like YouTube commercials, Amazon commercials, because I don't have any other streaming services now. I've just shut everything off because Disney Plus, I'm not paying for that shit. Everything Disney makes is shit right now. So then you got Paramount, then you got Peacock, then you got Netflix, you got Hulu. Hulu is just Disney Plus Lite now because Disney owns them. But now I gotta pay for 15 different streaming services so that I can get each one of your content.
Yes,
we've gone full circle back to fucking cable. It's just the new cable package. Oh well,
yeah.
So instead, the great thing about streaming was, look, I pay $15 a month and I get to watch all this shit. I don't have to pay $200 a month for cable TV and have 400 channels, 390 of which I never watch. YouTube got me break down and get that time suck Starfield bin. Starfield is great. It's not very often that I will play a game.
My problem with Starfield is I played through it and I played through it to 10 game plus and blah blah blah, and and then now I'm like, well, okay, that was good. I mean,
like I said, now I'm doing like random stuff. I'm building my own city. So I built an outpost that I'm literally just building my own city, and I'm just seeing how many NPC people I can gather up to stick in my outpost to basically just build my own city. Just because what the hell, wanted to see if it could be done.
Richest city, where the only law is there's no non-profits.
Well, and the fact that
everybody pays taxes to rich.
I set up an outpost that was just manufacturing shit, so that I could make a bunch of money and get all the XP. And once you get to a certain point, it doesn't matter anymore. Like I have so many credits now, it's stupid. I don't need credits anymore. I have a full fleet of ships. Um, that
Yeah, like I
you
said, once
know,
you get to a certain point, and then
I've custom built 9 ships where I'll go and hijack another ship, I'll fly back and I just completely dismantle it and build it into a new ship.
Dad stopped
And
playing at Doom.
Doom.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you saw that really quickly, and since we're touching on the Call of Duty added a Doom mod
No.
to your character, so it looks like the Doom shotgun, and it has the slow FPS and everything. Is you shoot? I mean, it shoots like the guns, and it's not slow, but
It's
you
just
know,
vision.
it's fucking awesome. And then like, you know, if you go up and you like knife a person or whatever, it uses the old, you know, 8-bit blood.
That's great. See, now they need to do a Duke Nukem.
Right.
Duke Nukem was, I think, probably my favorite video game character of all time. Yeah, shake it, baby. When he was in the strip club, absolutely just slayed me, the 8-bit stripper. But I mean, Duke Nukem was an awesome game. Doom was great. Doom was great too. The kind of the glory days of video gaming before everything became crazy.
So I thought we were going to talk about the death of RC on YouTube. It really is dying, man. Is it not? Is it just me, or I mean, like, especially small content creators are just dying,
drying up left and right. People are just not making and I still believe it's because the effort isn't worth it isn't worth your time. YouTube as a platform is doing such a great job at not paying people. It's unfortunate. I mean, I see somebody like RC every day, you know, even Exocaged, where, I mean, these guys they're busting ass with content because they got to. You know, I know, you know, RC every day, like what was it, last year? He went full-time YouTube.
Right, about 2 years
ago. Obviously that wasn't good enough because now he's selling his own kit to make money. You know, Exocaged. Last time I watched an Exocaged video, like while I was watching that video, he like posted 2 more videos.
I can't watch him. I can't watch him. He's so. There's like no emotion in this guy. There's like nothing. I like my RC cars, and you should like your RC cars. Those Mamba Monster tires I put on this thing, it really rips down the road. And
well, it's like even
unionize YouTube hashtag. I don't know about all that, but I'll follow you off a cliff, Green Frog. What the fuck? At this point, let's unionize YouTube.
It would. I don't think it would help. I think that YouTube itself is failing as a platform. I'm primarily because they've catered to where the big money's at, and it's not a platform for independent small creators anymore.
The views on and Earl would know. Earl puts out a ton of content.
Shorts have absolutely killed it, and this is YouTube never ever should have got into the short format game.
Let's play the war with TikTok.
They should have left it to TikTok and Instagram, because it's a different realm. It's a different.
TikTok is for people who can't edit. By the way, I just want to bring that up.
TikTok is for people that have the attention span of a potato chip, and it's also for stupid people.
Well, yeah, China's trying to make us fucking stupid,
I mean,
right?
China literally
Who agrees on that?
banned American TikTokers in China. When you go and watch Chinese TikToks, they're about engineering and design and like learning things. It's not, today we're going to do the Tide Pod challenge and try not to die. The fact that was a thing, it became a thing.
Well, and it's still kind of
laundry detergent packaging.
It still kind of is a thing. What about the kid in his car or whatever who sits in his? Or yeah, I've seen. There's other people, but there's one kid in particular I think about who sits. Sometimes he's at home. Sometimes he sits in his. He's fucking eating dumb shit like the world's hottest cinnamon bear, and he eats it. And it's like, dude, really? This is what we're reduced to watching? Is this fucking moron eating the world?
And they've literally shown it's been around long enough that doctors and neuroscientists and neurologists have
watching for all
shown that watching that type of content is actually bad for you because it stimulates your brain in a different way than if you were to sit and watch something for 20 minutes, for 5 minutes. Things that are 20, 30 seconds, it stimulates the brain differently. And if you do it enough, it changes the way your brain functions. It's literally making kids dumber. They know it. It's proven scientifically, and they won't do anything about it. Our government's too busy, pulling goddamn fire alarms and, booting the fucking Speaker of the House.
It took us a lot of money to set up this ebony alert for you.
Yeah, I mean, an ebony alert. And you're literally not doing something that is poisoning the minds
of the
next generation. At some point, all of these 70 and 80 fucking retards are going to go, and the younger generation is going to have to step into positions of importance like president, Speaker of the House, vice president, Supreme Court justice. And the only thing that they're going to be able to talk about is, what the latest TikTok trend is, or whether or not they addressed somebody using the proper pronouns, or it's just literally stupid shit that is meaningless and unimportant. But that's what the next generation thinks is important. Oh, yeah. How to turn a rubber band into
a swimsuit. Yeah.
I found that one incredibly titillating. The rubber band bathing suit. That and
titillating.
Just because I wanted to use the word titillating.
It is that
cancer awareness month.
We can use it all month. So,
the other thing that I find really weird, and only because I've been on X recently, I didn't really pay much attention to Twitter ever. But when it switched, I kind of started paying more attention to it. Also because there seems to be so much. There's a vast amount of information that is shared on Twitter, X, by normal, regular, everyday people. And at what point did women get so slutty?
Oh, yeah.
What? I don't like. I just, somebody posted this today on Twitter that there are more women streaming on OnlyFans now, October 11th, 2023, than all of the porn sites on the internet in the year 2000. There are now more OnlyFans women than there were porn sites in the year 2000, which is staggering considering that, in 2000, the internet had been around for a little while, and the internet is like 70% porn. So there's millions and millions of porn sites. There's more women doing OnlyFans now. And the other part
Shit,
that's
my
scary,
OnlyFans is blowing up now. Right.
the other part that's scary is I saw, and it's why a middle school teacher got reprimanded. She didn't get fired. She got reprimanded because they found out she was doing OnlyFans. Then she didn't stop doing it, so they reprimanded her again and they suspended her. And then she was like, why am I even dealing with this? Funk this. So she quit and just started doing OnlyFans full time. And she's not a staggeringly beautiful woman or anything. She's probably an average 5. $142,000 a month.
Well, and so there's, I mean, you know, I'm
what people are paying. I mean, what people are paying for OnlyFans. Now, let's remember that just a few minutes ago, I said that 70% of the internet is porn, which is free. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. But there's literally people paying enough so that an average looking woman from Louisiana is making $100,000 a month on her OnlyFans account. And there's tens of thousands of women, possibly millions of women that are making this kind of money. It's a sign of the degradation of society we've reduced women to basically being online prostitutes. But it's also,
have we, or did we make it available? That's what I want. Have we actually done that, or did we just like put it in the hands of people and say, you know?
But that is the age-old theological question of, is evil really evil, pushing you to do evil things, or is evil just presenting you with the opportunity to be evil?
I don't think prostitution is an evil thing.
It's certainly illegal in most places.
Yeah.
So
that I give you. See, that's what. So like I said, there is some serious issues with the OnlyFans thing. But I personally know some OnlyFans girls, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell you how either. I can tell you that I can work a camera. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm just like, this is a tough one for me because there is a bit of a moral dilemma here. I think there should be a OnlyFans. That's right.
I
forget that hospital administration. Honeydew OnlyFans. Yeah. Is she a looker?
That 6-figure a year gig, because you can make 6-figure a month.
So, okay, so you said that, and I want to touch on this really quickly because we all know that, at the beginning of the year, they did a bunch of new IRS stuff. They hired a bunch of auditors and everything else like that. I think this is why. Is because there are people out there making a lot of money not claiming their taxes.
Well, that's been happening since the dawn of taxes.
Well, sure.
But I mean, there's a reason why prostitution.
Not all those girls are ugly, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. It's been shown that this is bad.
No, well, I mean,
this is
so what we did was we took it out of the red light district and we gave it to everybody. That's what I'm saying. Instead of just making this like a, it used to be like a rite of passage as a man. Okay, you go down to the and you get your thing, so you know what to do when you get married. All right.
Yeah. But the proliferation of all of it, porn, OnlyFans, all of this, the internet has created a very significant societal problem. You look at the initial creation of the internet and the boom of the internet, which is say 1995, is when AOL like really blew up. And you look at coinciding data starting in 1995. Scammer's gonna scam. In 1995, you see a steep decline in family culture. You see an increase in divorce. You see the dropping of birth rates.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
and it's a significant problem. It's something that Elon Musk has been talking about. That the problem on the planet Earth isn't that we're overpopulated. The problem is that there is a severe shortage of babies. We're not populating at the rate at which we have been since the dawn of recorded man, which is an average of 2.5 children per family. That's how we've gotten to 8 billion people from roughly a 50,000 person starting point on the planet Earth since the dawn of recorded mankind. PayPal payment now have to be taxed at $600 instead of
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
PayPal, anything.
And the digital cash thing, yeah, you're right. I think that they probably are going to catch some people, especially people like I can't say names or anything like that, but I know some girls that make a lot of money.
Here's the problem with that. Who's a bigger problem? Is a bigger problem the people that are making this kind of money who are not claiming all of it, or say, we'll use Donald Trump as an example because it was a big deal about Donald Trump's taxes, so we'll use him as an example. Donald Trump's public tax records in 2014, the man was, literally at that point he was worth like $6.5 billion. And he literally paid less in taxes than I do, or my family, when we file our taxes. My wife and I will file our taxes. He literally paid less than that. But the reality is that he actually paid a whole bunch of money in taxes, but he got a whole bunch of it back in write-offs and whatnot. And it's a very smart thing how rich people do this. The Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks and whatnot. Donald Trump.
Is my dad still here? Dad, don't tell Mom that I know a bunch of OnlyFans girls. I probably should mention.
The thing is that these people who are worth all of this money don't make any money. So even though Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Donald Trump are worth billions of dollars, they themselves don't have an income. They don't make any money. Their businesses, their companies, and all of this stuff makes all of this money. And then there are certain things that they get as rewards for the owners, being the owner of that company. And those rewards can be anything from, hey, my business does so good, it pays my mortgage. It pays all my monthly bills. I literally don't need to collect a check because my company pays for everything. It pays for my jumbo jet. It pays for all my meals. It pays for everything. It's something that Warren Buffett said many, many years ago. I don't ever spend my own money on anything. He's like, I have 2 credit cards and I pay for everything on my credit cards. Because when I walk into a store and I buy something on a credit card, if I get home and I don't like it, I can just simply give it back and I haven't lost any money because my credit card company will get their money back. They don't care. But I don't risk anything of my own buying anything. I go and I buy a new car. I pay for it with my platinum card. Because I'm Warren Buffett, I'm worth a bunch of money. They'll let me charge a car on there. And then I'll go pay the credit card company that money. Or my company will pay that credit card. The problem is that they're going after the wrong people. There was a big deal about how
Well, and maybe they will be. I mean, maybe they are. I mean, shit, I don't know. I
they
can't say I know a damn thing other than
7,000 new IRS agents so that they could squeeze the middle class. You don't need to audit people. Okay, so what if Joe Schmo who makes $75,000 a year cheats $500, so he gets a $500 bigger tax return at the end of the year? Who gives a shit? Because when Target files their taxes, Target literally makes $3 billion a year, and they manage to weasel their way into paying zero. Those are the people they need to be going after, not some girl that makes $100,000 a month on OnlyFans and claims that she makes $40,000 a month. No, because it's peanuts compared to these big old companies. I mean, take a look at a company like BlackRock and how much money they're worth, or Vanguard, or Amazon.
Yeah, that's just it. I don't understand, Earl. I agree with you. There is no more middle class. I mean, fucking middle class is about goddamn dried up. I have some middle class family, so but don't get me wrong. I barely live. I put a tin shack for the studio, so I'll tell you where my class is.
But if you think about the most brilliant tax plan that anybody's ever had, it's simply a flat tax. Everybody pays 15%. What do you need the IRS for? I already cured that. We don't need the IRS anymore. I'm going to give you a 15% flat tax. The IRS is now just going to be handling the bills for the VA system after we sell off all the hospitals and we start taking care of our vets. All this money we shift over to actually doing something useful, because what it was like Donald Trump said in 2016, you should be able to do your taxes on a postcard.
Right.
There shouldn't be 14 pages in order to figure out how much you're going to get or how much you owe. It should simply be, you made $100,000 this year. You owe 15% of that in taxes. Now, if throughout the year you've had money taken out of your paycheck at 15%, at the end of the year, you'll get zero back, but you'll also pay zero. Your taxes are paid. They're done. You have nothing. It's a postcard. I made this much. I paid this much. How much do I owe, or how much do I get back? Zero. Everybody should be able to do that. It's that simple. If you have a home business, or you work for OnlyFans, you make $100,000, you pay 15%. Period. Done. That means, but that also means
you can still file. I mean, OnlyFans has a way to file taxes. There is a way to do that.
That also means that the Targets, the Pfizers, the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, the Starbucks, all of those, they're all going to be paying 15% too.
Well, see, I hear what you're saying there.
It makes it very
NorCal. Nobody gives a shit that you don't pay taxes. I got news for you. Nobody gives a shit that you work under the table.
And see, it's not even that it's paying their fair share. It's the fact that we have made a tax system that favors big money companies. And that's because big money companies literally pay tens of millions of dollars a year to our Congress people to get them to make laws that will allow them to not pay any taxes. They've been doing this for a long time, and it's silly.
Yeah, what, $60,000 a year comes out to be like a little, what around 45 maybe.
If you're in California and you're making 60 grand a year, at the end of the year, you will have made about $47,000. Because in California, you're paying the highest state tax income rate. You're paying the highest state disability tax in rate. You're paying the highest state retirement rate. You're paying the highest property taxes, the highest sales taxes. You're literally paying the most of anywhere you could go. I would like to learn how to not pay taxes. I
was going to say, you don't want to be like NorCal. He can't get the grass stains out of his pants.
on federal withholding. At any time during the year that you make over like 140, they stop taking taxes out of your check. Yes, that is true. They literally just stop taking it out of your check. Because you move at 100 and somewhere around there. Once you hit that, you move into a different tax bracket, which is taxed differently than normal tax brackets. I think if you make over $140,000 a year, you can't even do like a 1070 anymore. You have to file using the different paperwork. But that's for next week's show. Because right now we've hit the 2 hour mark, 2 hour plus. And yeah, great show. Man, I really do appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. I know JB appreciates everybody coming and hanging out. And thank you, JB, for being on the show and hanging out. Our little slice of happiness here.
Don't pat me on the back too hard there, bro.
Yeah, yeah, Green Frog. We're getting to a point where they're squeezing so hard that the middle class is going to become the lower class, and there's going to be a distinct separation. There will be two classes. There will be the haves and the have-nots. It will look very much like Hunger Games. Much like things already look like Hunger Games. Has anybody watched the latest Paris fashion show to see the ridiculous shit that they're wearing?
Oh, God. Thank you, Robert.
It looks just like Hunger Games. The crazy shit that those people were wearing there. It's just insanity. But that's where we're at. But again, we'll be diving into some more shit next Wednesday here on the Shit That Needs to Be Said show. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week. I am going to take care of some business directly after the show. And JB, if you move on to the after show, have fun. I will try to jump in on the old phone.
Okay.
And say howdy. But otherwise, we will see everybody next Wednesday for another fun-filled, exciting episode. With hopefully no more snake stuff. Peace and grease, y'all. Thank you, NorCal, Mr. Brown, Robert, Jesse, Earl, Green Frog. I know I'm forgetting somebody in there.
I need a sandwich, but I probably
Thompson, J. Emmons was in there. But thank you all for coming and hanging out. We will see you next Wednesday, and now we get that awkward time when we don't know how long it takes for